everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. And yes, it's your girl Inuma, your certified abundant life coach, and I'm here with another topic. So yes, today's topic we're going to be discussing is how to manage our emotions. So in this video, I'm going to be focusing on 7 ways that we can manage our emotions, and we all know emotions is part of who we are as individuals. They can be quite fickle and they should be considered, but they shouldn't always be acted on. So yes, number one key point that I have here on how to manage our emotion is understanding your temperament and being able to analyze your situation. So yes, we know in the internet there's several quizzes, personality quizzes and stuff like that, where you could take those quizzes and get to know who you are more. There are different types of temperaments. We have 4 major temperaments: the choleric, the sanguine, the melancholy, and the phlegm. I fall under the male phlegm. So yes, understanding your temperament is important, and it helps you know how you react to things, how you act in certain situations, right? um when we experience difficult feelings or emotions, or we get into conflict with someone else, and we are angry and really outraged, or it could be a stressful moment. One of the first things we need to do is take a step back, analyze the situation, right? Analyze what emotions and what feelings you're currently feeling. It could be feelings of anger, resentment, bitterness. It could be a variety of different emotions. So recognizing what emotions you're currently feeling and dealing with at the moment is important. And then another thing you want to do is analyze the situation, analyze the party involved, right? You also want to analyze your actions, examine yourself, and have that honest conversations. Did any of your actions trigger the event? Did anything you do contribute to the incident or the event occurring? So those are the basic stuff we want to do when we find ourselves experiencing difficult or tough emotions. The second point that I have here written down is we want to practice the pause. So yes, like I said earlier, it could be anger, it could be bitterness, it could be rage, it could be anything. You want to practice the pause. So one of the things that have personally helped me is practicing the pause. It's something that I think I tend to do naturally. It wasn't something that I learned. I just have figured over the years that if I'm upset, or I'm very triggered, if I open my mouth at that moment to say something, then whatever comes out of my mouth is going to be something that I'm going to tend to regret later on. So what I tend to do is I tend to shut down. But actually, I shut down for too long. That's something you don't want to do. You don't want to shut down for too long. You can take a time out, walk away from the situation or from the environment, right? Or just be calm and quiet. Just close your mouth if you know that you're someone like me that would tend to say something that you would regret later. It's better that you just keep quiet and don't say anything at that moment. Wait till you're calm and you're more mentally and emotionally stable before you can have that conversation or revisit the situation and talk about it. But in the meantime, you want to take time out, step outside, remove yourself from that situation at that moment, so you don't go overboard or overreact. And also another thing, you don't want to sweep it under the rug and then just forget about it. Now, if you know it's something that really triggered you or really caused a very negative emotion for you, you should want to talk about it. But the time and place of when you choose to actually talk about it, or have a conversation about it is what actually matters. Like I said, if it really bothered you and you want to talk about it, you can revisit it at a later time. It just doesn't have to be at that very moment. Number 3 point that I have here on how you can manage your emotion is communication. So yes, after you have removed yourself from the situation and you're much calmer and you're more in a better space mentally to talk and have a matured conversation about it. You want to talk about it with the other party that's involved. You want to be able to have open and honest conversations about what happened, or if it's something, an offense that you feel the other person has offended you or did something that you didn't agree with. It's left for you to tell them in a polite manner. You don't have to be a jerk about it either. You can talk to them in a polite manner and make your voice be heard. Voice your concerns about the situation and how their behavior made you feel, or how their behavior is affecting you. And then after communicating, you don't always want to be the one talking. After communicating, you should be able to keep calm and keep quiet and listen, right? Listen for feedback, listen to hear the other person out, listen to hear from the other person where they're coming from or what their viewpoints are about the situation. You might find that you actually learn something, or realize that the way you both see it is very different from the other person, right? So it's always good to have that active listening skills after during communication. And also it's not always about you. um, if the if you got offended, more than likely the other person might also be offended, so you also want to hear their side of the story before you guys could settle the issue or decide what happens next. I'm going to reference a scripture in the Bible that actually talks a bit about emotions and dealing with anger. I have here Ephesians chapter 4 from verses 26 to 31. So here it says, verse 26, and don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry, for anger gives a foothold to the devil. If you are I'm gonna skip verse 28 and move on to 29. Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. Verse 30, and do not bring sorrow to God's Holy Spirit by the way you live. Remember, He has identified you as His own, guaranteeing that you will be saved on the day of redemption. And verse 31 says, get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behaviors. Verse 32 says, instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you. So yes, this actually talks about learning to forgive and not allow the sun to go down when we're angry. That's something that I'm still learning to apply in my life. I'm still a work in progress, right? And we don't want to, that's why communication is a huge point. You don't want to keep grudges or keep malice. You want to be able to let go and forgive. And you might not necessarily have that person, things might not actually go back to normal or go back to the way it used to be prior, but you want to be able to let that person go in your heart and forgive that person, because forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about you. So yes, I hope we can take one or two things from that Bible verse. Moving on, number 4 point on how to manage our emotions is don't sweat the small stuff. So it's not everything that we have to act on or say something about. Some things we can actually overlook. If it's not something that is really bothersome to you, you can actually let it slide and, focus your energy on other things that are more relevant and important, and just save yourself the hassle. You don't want to sweat the small stuff. And if you must say something about it, then go ahead, please do, and say something about it. But if it's something that you know that you can easily overlook, then let it slide. Moving on number 5, or the 5th point I have here, is being able to set firm and healthy boundaries with others. I talked about this in one of my previous videos. You can go back and watch it on the video on boundaries. You want to make sure that you're communicating clearly to the other person, right? A huge part of it is communication. Be very open and direct in your communication, letting the other person know how their behavior is affecting you. And once you have established that that this is what you're doing, and it's not something I agree with, or it's I find it disrespectful, and if the other person is continues or keeps on crossing the line or overstepping their boundaries, then now it's the ball is in your court. You have the responsibility to either pull the plug, um you can distance yourself from that person, or you can choose to cut them off completely, depending on what the situation is. But yes, you want to be able to, you actually teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate from them. So that's something that everybody needs to learn and needs to start practicing if you're not currently doing that. Number 6 point that I have here is self-regulate and self-regulate slash self-care. So yes, this one is a very crucial one. We want to self-regulate is basically how we are able to handle and deal with these difficult emotions, physically, mentally, emotionally, how we are able to manage all that. And also we want to manage our stress levels, right? We all know stress is number one issue in the society that causes a lot of health issues, and it causes a lot of conflicts also in relationships. So we want to be able to manage our stress levels. If there are things that we can actually do to take better care of ourselves so that we don't experience burnout, then we want to actually be doing those things. It could be that you have to readjust your work schedule to fit in better with your life, and you can be able to manage your work, have a good work-life balance, and manage your family, your home, your children, and work. We also want to be able to delegate tasks around the house. If there are things, don't always try to do everything or be everything to everybody. There are things that you can actually delegate to other family members or close friends, or it could be like your child, taking your child to the child care services or the daycare, so that they can relieve you of some of some responsibilities, and you can actually focus more on other things that you need to do around the house or in your life, in your personal life. It could also be scheduling alone time. And if you're someone that has kids, or you have family, you want to be able to be intentional about scheduling alone time for yourself, where you can just mentally distress and have some quiet time to yourself. And that helps a lot. That personally helps me. It could also be talking to trusted friends. If sometimes as women we might be overwhelmed with a lot of things, responsibilities from home, work, all of that, extended relatives, and all of that, we can have someone that we can call on the phone, or meet up and just talk, right? Talking is also therapy. It could also be taking vacations. You could travel with your spouse without the kids and just have some quality time with your partner. All these things helps us reset and feel refreshed. If we do that, we wouldn't experience so much burnout and so much stress in our lives that could affect our relationships or how we interact or relate in our day-to-day life. Yes, stress is something that it can actually, if not managed well, it can, have us in a very bad shape mentally and emotionally and physically. Um, my last point here that I have is actually healing. So yes, I'm a big advocate for healing. Personally, I believe healing, we all need healing. Healing helps us, become better versions of ourselves. If we could actually, everyone could actually heal, do some inner work on themselves, the society would actually be a better place. That's my belief. Sometimes we might find ourselves constantly having, loud outbursts, overreacting to situations, getting easily irritable, frustrated, and all of that, or just having lots of conflicts in our life. It could be conflicts with family or other interpersonal relationships. When we find ourselves doing that, this could be as a result of a lack of healing or pains from our past hurts and trauma, and we might actually need to seek help, seek a licensed therapist or counselor or a life coach like myself, who you can go to for help, and that person can help you unpack a lot of all these baggages, emotional baggages and junk, unpack them, and begin the process of unlearning and relearning things, and just getting you to a much better space and mindset. Healing is so crucial in our society today. That's something that is actually very underrated. I feel like a lot of our African people, most especially, don't even want to hear about it. They believe that when you talk about therapy, that's there's this kind of stigma around it, that okay, therapy is only for the psychos, where if you're mentally unstable. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Therapy is only for those who are mentally unstable. Those are the people that need therapy. But no, I'm here to tell you today that therapy is something that we all need, and if we could invest in it, it would save us a whole lot of stress and issues down the line, right? I'm going to share a personal story, or a personal testimony of how therapy helped my life and got me to the point where I am today. 2-3 years ago, when I was in a season where I was currently dealing with a lot of issues, stresses from relationship, family conflict, work life, everything was a mess. So prior to then, I had some childhood trauma issues, and rejection, feelings of rejection, abandonment, lots of fears and anxieties that I was currently dealing with at the time. And I brought all those things into my relationship, and I was just an emotional mess, emotional havoc, right? Just lots of issues with family members, friends. I lost a lot of friends during that season. I think that was also my pruning season. My closest friend, we lost contact. We had a big fallout, and for over a year, we were not in touch, or we are not in good terms. And yeah, I just realized myself constantly getting easily irritable, angry, loud outbursts, lashing out at people. Just, I was totally a mess. I wasn't myself. And knowing who I am, I'm a very chill, easygoing type of person. So to find myself constantly overreacting and just, being an emotional havoc was actually strange to me even. I remember during that season, initially I didn't know what was going on. I knew I was stressed and I was hurt, but I didn't know why I was acting the way I was acting. So it took me taking a step back and having that honest conversation with myself that, hey, this is not who you are. You actually need help. And I actually sought help. And I enrolled in, therapy counseling sessions, and I began to unpack all the junk, that were affecting me. I didn't know how much, I was dealing with or harboring on the inside until I actually began these therapy sessions. So yes, therapy could help us a lot. I did some shopping around, with therapists until I found one that was a good fit, and we walked through a series of sessions to unpack these things. Some of it were intense therapy sessions, some were not so intense, but they helped me a great deal to get to this point. So my point is that we all need therapy in our life, no matter at what stage of life you are in. Everyone needs therapy. It could help you in your relationships, knowing how to navigate relationships better. It could help you. It could save you in your marriage. It could help you deal with, work, having a good work-life balance, and all of that. But yes, there were so many things that I didn't know I had to unlearn, lots of negative thinking and negative thoughts that I had to unlearn and unpack and relearn, new mindsets, new skills. And my therapist was able to give me useful tools that I was able to apply in my life that actually worked out. I began to see changes in my life. So therapy is something I would always continue to be a great advocate for. It's something that we all need in our life to, be better individuals. And when you're better, other people, your loved ones, and will tend to enjoy you better and enjoy the better version of who you are as an individual. So yes, that was a season in my life that, when I look back, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I was able to pull through and, get to this stage. I want you guys to invest in therapy. I encourage you, if you're not currently doing that, it should be something you want to consider and invest in. It's a huge investment, but it is something that if you invest in, you wouldn't regret ever doing that. It's a great deal of benefit and great deal of gain for you in the long run. So yes, I hope you were able to take one or two things from this video. Emotions are a very big part of who we are. We all need to learn to manage our emotions better so that we can have more better, healthy relationships with others, and form more better skills and tools to be able to navigate friendships and relationships. So yes, thank you all for joining me in today's video. I look forward to seeing you in my next video tomorrow. And yes, have a great and lovely week ahead. Take care. Bye bye.